Okay, it's recording.
Just start us off, or do we start us off?
I don't mind. Oh, well, right then. Hey guys, it's Mark here, and I'm joined with Odge, and this
Hello.
is the Dialogue Options podcast. Hello.
Number 3,
Yeah,
the
number 3.
trifecta, boy. Oh yeah.
Trifecta. That was your the word for Overwatch with Widowmaker, Genji, and Hanzo.
The trifecta of shit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad. Yeah. The three most useless. Well, they say they're not useless attack heroes because you see like pro Widows, pro Genjis, and I'm not going to say pro Hanzos because it's just no, I can't do that. But with some of the Widows and Hanzos, like some of the best players in the world play those characters. I need to slow down because I think my Welsh accent might be a bit too much for people who are not from the valleys. But when you're playing like a platinum or gold game and you see them, you're just like, oh no, honey, we're gonna go and die. We're gonna die. And it's like for Overwatch, Mark sort of switches between tank and healer. I kind of do the same, but I favour healer more. But when you're playing healer and you haven't got any tanks, your role is really muted because it's really hard to get your ult up, and it's just so frustrating. Then
The thing is, I would like to play DPS, but you can't. You just can't.
You just never have the opportunity. You never have the chance. That's the problem.
Even if you insta-lock them, if you insta-lock DPS, it don't fucking matter. There's going to be another like 3 people going for DPS, and there's
because there's more DPS. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's why I was convinced originally that they weren't going to do this LFG thing. So looking for group, because in MMOs usually like I don't know, like I've played World of Warcraft, Star Wars, I was trying to think now what other ones, but usually you have an LFG sort of system for raids, and so you could select what kind of role you are, and then it'll sort of join up with sort of like a balanced group, so you can do these raids. But a lot of the time in MMOs, if you was at DPS, like sometimes your waiting time could be like 20 minutes because there's just so many DPS. But if you go tank or healer, it's like instant in a second, done. Yeah. So I was convinced they weren't going to do it for Overwatch because there's so many DPS mains that I thought they'd have trouble fucking finding people.
Well, maybe that's a soft way to weed out the DPS mains, or just they don't use the system because it takes so long anyway, and it favors the people who do want to fill niche roles. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, like, since that came into Overwatch, we sort of just forgotten about it a little bit, haven't we?
Yeah. Well, I went back to it last night. And I haven't played for like 2-3 months. I know I completely missed the last season because I just got so annoyed with the fucking Symmetra changes. Annoyed me so much. I couldn't believe it. I went on there one night, had a few drinks, and I never went back after because it just annoyed me so much with the changes.
Why did she annoy you so much?
Because
she's a different character, totally different character.
Yeah, but the total turret thing now, she doesn't have to be near the wall. She can shoot them. So, like, who's on this map where it's like a good choke on this map is the, it's Blizzard World. No, it's Blizzard World. And, yeah, we could go left, we could go right, but whenever she saw our characters go in, like, certain areas, she'd shoot the turrets above where they were. So, like, every time we come up, we just get fucking hit by them. Every single time. And it slows you down as well if you get hit by so many. So that was me dying, and we got 5 DPS. I'm a fucking old healer, and I'm like, fuck this, I'm out, I'm done.
The thing is, to be fair, like I was just gonna say, if you consider the game good, but when you're DPS, she can melt DPS with her fucking turrets. She's really, really good. And you need someone to counter her. But you can only do... Right, so let's backpedal a little bit for anyone who hasn't played Overwatch, because we're getting into deep territory here. So Overwatch...
In fact, look what I'm wearing right now, I just realised.
I did see. You're such a cuck.
There's me fucking slandering it. Like, yeah, fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
And t-shirt.
Overwatch is a great great game. We've played it for 2 years. It's a competitive multiplayer. It's sort of a hybrid with some MOBAs. Would you say that in the terms of there's how many heroes
No.
are there?
I wouldn't say
No, not
MOBA.
MOBAs, but no, MOBA's wrong. But
It's an arena shooter with
it's an arena shooter. But the heroes play so much differently, and my main issue with the game is the heroes are broken up in different classes. You've got the DPS, the offensive heroes, the tanks, and the healers. Issue that we kept coming up, which Mark was saying about the finding a group, was people love to play the DPS. Some people like to play healers, and no one wants to play fucking tank. So you end up with these really like wonky teams. So you need to play with your friends in order to have, you know, a good sort of 2-2-2 split, or at the very least like a tank and a healer, and people just weren't doing it. I think like part of the reason why I've gone off the game, like I was quite excited for the Symmetra changes because I did like Symmetra. On she's good on certain sort of. Well, okay, fuck you then. No teleport for you.
I was quite excited anyway.
I was quite excited for it, but for the changes, because I just wanted her character to improve. But like you compare with the game now to what it was when it first came out, and it plays totally differently. And it's like you get really comfortable in a role and really comfortable in the character, and then it's like, oh, by the way, we're just gonna fucking change it now.
Oh, I could have cried the day they changed Lucio back. Like the fact that his speed stacked every time you jumped on a wall. It was so good.
He was so slick.
Yeah, and then they changed it, and it was like he's just slow now. He's just he's fast, but he's not that fast.
No,
he's not Lucio, you know, fast as fuck anymore.
Lucio, man,
yeah.
fast. I mean, I liked the original Lucio. I was Lucio main for a while, and he was overpowered then when his AOE was just fucking gigantic. But they could have nerfed him in a different way. I think the nerfs and buffs was just so dramatic, and like Diva, like I think Diva's character totally changed. Mercy has gone through so many changes, and just it's totally changed the way the game is played, and it gets hard to keep up. I don't mind balance patches, but it's like a constant thing, and there's all these Overwatch channels are basically being made because the game is being updated and changed so often. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for patches and changes, but when it becomes like the main topic of what the patch notes are going to be, it's like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean that's what we're looking for though, and is that every time they bring out a new character too, they need to balance the certain attributes of previous characters. So I mean, otherwise they could be overpowered to the point that there's very low pick rates. I mean, you see the same thing on Siege, really. So if there's different characters that come out and they have a specific ability, they could overpower certain other characters. In fact, there was something that was released where I think, if I remember correctly, Lion had the highest win rate. I think it was Lion, but he had the lowest pick rate, which didn't make sense. Like his win rate was off the charts, right? Like you couldn't even see it. It was like off. But his pick rate was the lowest of all characters, and it was just because a lot of people suspect he's just not fun to play. So I think it's Lion. I don't know, but that's what happens in these sort of games now.
Yeah. I never played Siege, but like when Anna came out in Overwatch, she was good. You know, she was behind like 3 of the metas. Yeah. You know, she was. And no one realized how good she was to start with, and then they had the Beyblade meta with buffing. Anna basically had her ultimate ability was she could power up. She could raise like the defense, attack, and health and speed of attack of one of the one of her allies. And if you buff that with certain other ultimates, she's just a fucking monster. So she was like the Beyblade meta with Reaper. She was a machine, you know, that she was part of that, and the infamous tank meta. It was like she was all about the healing with that, and it totally changed the way the game is played. And then they nerfed her, and then no one played her for the longest time, and that's when Mercy sort of rose up.
Well, they've upped her again though. I think they've upped her damage, and if an ally's health is full, bullet shoots through him, hit the every
that?
enemy.
Oh yeah. I remember seeing them. I think
Yeah.
they were changing it so Nano Boost grants gives like 300 health back as well, or something like that.
Oh, okay. The
It's
weirdest
got lots
change
of
I found with
changes.
that though is she could choose the nano boost herself, and
I
I
think
don't
that
know.
was
Go on.
that was just for single player. I think for like deathmatch
Oh,
and things like that.
okay. I was gonna say because that
I,
didn't make sense to me. I was like, why would I nano boost myself? Like, you know.
yeah, I don't think you can in normal TDM. You can only do it in deathmatch because
Okay.
her ult is useless basically. Otherwise,
Yeah, on herself definitely. Because it's like, all right, then you could throw a grenade, which will stop healing, does a little bit of damage, but you don't do that much damage.
I mean, if you're in like the competitive scene and you've got like a solid team of six that you enjoy playing all the time, I'm sure the patch notes and the changes are can be quite exciting because there are people who've stuck with their mains through thick and thin. And Hanzo is a good example because Hanzo, when they changed his ability to the lunge, he's changed a lot, and people like him now. He's a lot more fun than he used to be. And they got rid of that shitty RNG shot, the scat arrow
Fucking
shot they
annoyed
had.
me so much.
So
Especially if you're
so
Winston,
bad.
500 health, dead. Like,
Oh,
what? Where'd that come from?
does that seriously kill him for 500 health?
Pretty
I know
sure
you
it
could
did.
kill Orisa.
I
You
think
could
it did
definitely kill Orisa.
450 health. I'm sure
Jeez.
it was like a lot for what
Yeah,
it was.
that's a tank. For reference, like the majority of heroes have 200 health, with the max being 600. So it's just like a one shot with a explosive bow and arrow.
So
It's just nuts.
infuriating. There
Yeah.
wasn't even
I
skill
mean,
5, it was just like fucking random
no,
shot.
yeah, just aim with their feet and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, a good example is our friend Jay. Hello, Jay, because you can watch this podcast. Nice to see you.
Hi.
Whenever he comes back to Overwatch, and he's a solid player, but he just doesn't have a fucking clue what to do because he doesn't play for like 4 months at a time, and the game's totally changed, and it's a bit hard to keep up.
Yeah.
I would still go back to it, but since Hamstergate, it's
I played him
I
last
can't.
night. He was so much fun.
I can't. I
I
can't
forget
take it.
what the map is called now because I haven't been on it for a while. You know the one where it's Zenyatta's sort of place, I think it is, with the temple up in the mountains.
Oh yeah, Nepal.
Yeah, yeah, and it's the one where you have like not the one with the gap in the floor, but the one outside and there's temple there.
Yeah.
I shot my hook in the ceiling, and they couldn't get close. They just started smacking
Spin.
into him. Yeah, I kept doing that.
Spin round. Slowly keeps spinning around constantly.
They got me a few times, but I kept coming back and swinging.
He's just 600 fucking health. Like it's so hard to kill.
Oh,
I don't know. It's like you didn't watch wrestling as a kid, did you? Or
I
did you?
did, but not much.
Like I was really into wrestling when I was younger. I sort of lost interest when I was like an early teen. But it's one of those things where like you love wrestling, and then your mother walks in when you're watching it, and it's like they're having a bra and panties match at that very time. So
Yeah.
it's just two women in underwear wrestling, and that's exactly what I thought with I can't think of the character's name now. Hammond the hamster. It's like you play at Overwatch. It's like, oh, what are you playing, son? It's like, oh, this really intense competitive shooter. There's so much strategy you've got to involve. And it's like, who's that character you're playing? It's not a hamster in a ball with fucking legs and miniguns for arms, and it's just your father's disappointed in you.
I'll tell you that you know a point that happens every time there's a game, no matter how sophisticated it is or like how mature it is. It's like, The Witcher 3, yeah, mainly about killing monsters. But the moment that sex scene comes on, someone's walking through that door and they're looking at your screen and thinking, what the fuck is going on here?
I know. It's like it's not what it looks like. It's really not bad. It's just high art, I promise.
I swear this has a good storyline.
I'm playing with the story.
Wow.
Yeah. Dirty boy. Watching your pornographies, your fucking weird tentacle porn.
But yeah, it's Overwatch is like ever changing. I mean, I'm happy with that, but yeah, that Symmetra thing just tipped me over the edge.
Yeah.
I couldn't go back after. And plus, well, as I said before, I couldn't play DPS, so after I started playing Siege, what I like about it is everyone's DPS. Like if it's very unlikely that you'll survive like a 5v1, but it can happen. It's not, and I've seen it happen as well, where like there's been like just me left outside, and the team rush and they think, oh yeah, we got him, and that's it. It went round. It can happen. That's what I like about it.
I suppose the difference in Sieges is they all play in such a similar fashion. They just have these slightly different abilities, which if you use them well, can be very, very effective.
Yeah.
But if you compare that to Overwatch, it's like characters can play completely different to each other.
Yeah.
The good example is Genji. Like Genji is the ninja type character,
the weeb.
And at high level play, he's an absolute boss. He's so powerful. But then there's another character called Winston, who even like a pro would really struggle against a fairly good Winston player, because he counters him so hard, and that can be a bit frustrating on times when you're like you're one player out of 6 on a team. Another character is being particularly difficult, and is harassing the rest of your team, and it's like, well, you can change if you want, but then you might be the only healer, you might be the only tank, you might be the only hit scan, and then you're leaving the team lacking in another way. Then it's just like we played it for 2 years. I fucking loved that game. It was a really, really good game.
It's a good game.
We got our money's worth out of it, but you just gotta call it a night sometimes. And I think we were getting frustrated more often than we were actually enjoying the game.
Well, the whole point of the game,
there's always some problem.
Yeah, the whole point of the game Overwatch is like you counter each other. So you go, you have Symmetra, you go Winston, and then you have Winston, you go Reaper. And it's just the same thing over and over again. But like you get people just go, nah, fuck you. I'm gonna go where I want. It's like, okay, I can understand. Like sometimes you have to work around people, but that's every single match. It's like, come on, like that they've got a fucking Reaper, and you go Winston because you want to go him. It's like, why?
I mean, apparently with the new group system, it's improved a bit, but it's a bit too little, too late. To be honest, it's just. Yeah. I'm just done now.
It does look good, the group system. Like I've tried it, but like my first instance of trying it was like, what I liked about the whole update as well is that it made your profile private. And the big issue I found was every time you join a group, if you was deemed as a fucking healer main from the start, then there's no way you could choose DPS. Or like if there's like someone that's got more hours on tank, it's like, well, you don't know what the fuck you're doing because you're a healer, man.
Funny thing is you say that, but I've heard people make the exact opposite argument against it and say like, well, it should all be open because you don't know who your players are working, who you're going to be siding with, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
But so many people have said that as if that's like, as if they've like fucking some football manager trying to find a good,
It's fucking dumb. It's like, why do you want to know where I play? It's just. If you're that bothered by it, join a clan. Join a team.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't go in some random fucking game where you don't know what people play. It's like
exactly.
It's like, are you fucking mad? Like you're not pro, and you wanted people to have their public profile because then oh well they don't fucking play DPS, so fuck them. They can go healer. It's like, no.
Exactly, it's a game. You can play who you want.
I remember watching this guy before on YouTube and. Some guy like ripping into another guy saying that he's shit at the game, and he's saying he shouldn't go this character, and in the end this guy fucking loses. He goes, "Who the fuck are you telling someone to go to a certain character? He's paid for this product. He can do whatever the fuck he wants." It's like it's true.
No, exactly, and it's like we were saying earlier, like people should play certain roles, which I'm more than happy to flex, but some people are not happy to flex whatsoever. But just you could play like an hour's worth of a tank. It's like, I fancy playing DPS now, and then it's like, oh no, you played nothing but Reinhardt. Why are you suddenly playing Reaper? We need a tank. It's like, oh fuck you, random person on the internet telling you a character to play.
The worst case I saw of that is if anyone went Mercy, because there was a time where you needed a Mercy on every team, and that was
Yeah,
like
she
the
was just
worst meta ever.
such a strong healer.
Yeah, it was just
Much
horrible
better than the others.
because I don't like playing Mercy, and a lot of the time I was put as a healer. So that meant if I wasn't Mercy, the other person had to be Mercy. And if they were Mercy and I were Mercy, then all of a sudden it was...
Gonna lose.
Well, not just that, it was like everyone fucking hated each other then because they're telling us to go Mercy. It's like, bro, I don't want to play Mercy. Like, there's been a few times I've told people, I will go your role and you go Mercy. Because I'm shit at Mercy. I can't play it. I'm not good at it. No response. I'll stick to DPS or tank. You stay Mercy. It's like, well, I'm not good at Mercy. So, what do you want to do?
For me, that's why I started losing interest, because I was a Mercy main for a long time, and I loved the character, loved playing as her. But they changed it so much, and I didn't mind the fact they got rid of Resurrect because it was overpowered. I mean, I never played.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I know you were well shift, but I never played the hide and seek Mercy where I just would wait for my team to wipe out. It was always like, in the front lines trying to heal all the time.
Yeah, Craig.
But they could have. Yeah, Craig. He still is doing McCree though. Those hide and seek tactics. Waits the entire team to die, and he's like, "Ha ha, no." Yeah, we're watching you. I don't know. They just changed it so much, and it's kind of strange because what you were saying earlier is of everyone counters each other. So you've got like the Winstons being tricky, so maybe we'll pull out the Bastion sort of thing. That's how the game was played, but that's how the game was, meant to be played. But it isn't really played like that because people are sort of shuffled into their roles. So people decide, right, I want to be DPS, or I have to play a tank, I have to play a healer. Out of these 6 heroes, which do I prefer, or which fits this map or situation?
Yeah.
And you get like, it just comes down to preference because they play so much differently from each other. It's like, you've got Zenyatta or Anna, for example, or Zenyatta and Moira, and they're both healers. They both play so much differently to each other and both need an entirely different skill set to use. So, I mean, yeah, you should flex, but at the end of the day, like, you want to get comfortable in the character and win. So it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy in the way of, they try to get you to flex, but then it's not advantageous to flex. You really should master one hero. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I used to follow Stylos, and I think he was describing the exact same thing you were describing then. So he said the game is meant to be played as like a flex character. You switch between roles depending on a certain situation. But I think there was a correlation between people like sticking in one role, winning a lot more matches because they understand the character a lot more. And then people that kept switching, they weren't getting used to how the character plays and being an expert in how they play. So they weren't as winning as many matches. So yeah, I totally get what you mean. I mean, it's that sort of game where they've set it up to be flex, but if you don't master certain specific characters, or master a few at least, and keep switching between every single character, you're not going to learn their full potential.
And like they've changed the role select now, but there used to be 8 offensive characters. And even within those 8, they play very differently. So you could be like really good at, say, Genji and Sombra. But if those 2 characters are taken, then it's like, well, your DPS role is nullified then. So because you can't play like any of those roles as well as what you could before. So you've got to fall back on, say, your Diva or your Moira, whichever one you prefer to use. It's just very tricky. It's almost like if you constantly have 5 other people to play with, then you can have more fun.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
I don't know. I mean, I think that's why Call of Duty was such good fun, because it was never played, in a team-oriented manner. Going back to, Call of Duty really kicked off with the first Modern Warfare, but everyone's out for themselves. Even like the capture the flag, or
it's not team-based at all, is it? Call of Duty.
It's not team-based at all. Like, the majority of people would still just go for kill streaks and go for kills, and oftentimes you'd still do really well. You'd still be like helping your team out. You could play like capture the flag map and not touch a flag, but get so many kills, and you're still like a massive advantage to your team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the type of game Call of Duty is, isn't it? I mean, speaking of, have you pre-ordered it to play that beta at all, or?
No,
No, I did.
no, not at all. I mean, the thing is that I'm looking back at Call of Duty with rose-tinted spectacles because which ones have I owned? I owned first Modern Warfare, World at War, which was really fun. Modern Warfare 2, and Black Ops.
Okay.
And I did get Modern Warfare 3, but I barely played. I love Black Ops. But I haven't played since like the jetpacks and stuff came in. I haven't really played it.
Well, I had what was it? I think might have been on the. No, I don't. I thought it was below. I think I got Black Ops 3. I'm not sure. I think I had that on offer when the new one came out, because that seems to be the trend, doesn't it? Like, it doesn't drop in price until the newest one comes out. Then it drops like the 20.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I tried that. I went fast. It looked like he was trying to be like Titanfall, but just wasn't succeeding. And but I mean, Titanfall 2. Oh, that's such a good game.
I still need to get around to playing that.
It's really good. Really good.
It looks like the ADHD of first-person shooters. There's just so much going on.
Oh, it's so fast as well. Like on PC, it's just like everywhere. Ask Jay, man. If you ever speak to Jay, ask him how much fun we used to have on the first one with multiplayer. Like, my specialty was like fucking taking down the Titans, and I think it was like killing people. So like, I remember one time, I was on top back of Titan, and I liked the.
Key.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, go on.
It's on the back of a Titan, and after you shoot his cell, it just explodes like it goes into nuclear. I remember this one time there was like 3 enemies around us. I destroyed one, shot up in the air, landed on another one, shot the power cell, went up in the air, landed on another one. Because as soon as you jump up in the air, you can aim where you're gonna land.
Yeah.
And Jay was like, "Fuck it, Mark! You just go and kill all the Titans."
Just machine like.
Yeah. But sorry, go on. I cut you off then.
I can't think. No, I can't think what I was saying. I mean, I've never been like a massive first-person shooter fan, probably because I'm a console peasant. But I was really into the early Call of Duties. Really into Shadowrun, which.
Oh yeah, that was good. I like that game.
I mean, it was. I think it had a bit of a cult success, but it wasn't favoured commercially because I think it was one of these games where. It was one of the first iterations, anyway, of having like no campaign. It was just all online multiplayer, and I think at the time, like that really hurt it. And nowadays, people don't think twice about that. Like, think of how many games come out now, like Friday the 13th, Fortnite, PUBG. They're all multiplayer games.
Well, if you think about it,
people
like,
might at home.
Back then, can you imagine like the amount of people that would have had online? I can imagine it was like quite a lot, but not
as much as now.
Yeah, not as much as now.
No.
Whereas like everyone's got internet connection now. It's just I only had fiber like about 4 years ago. So
yeah. But it was still a bit of a novelty. I think people were still, dipping their toes with like the original Xbox, and then when the 360 came out, that's when it really hit the mainstream. I think. Yeah.
But,
so yeah, it kind of makes sense because you had nothing to do if you had no online, and you had to pay for online, which like then was a bit of a shock system you sort of accepted now for console gaming.
But yeah, that was a good game back then. I really enjoyed that, especially the cross-platform with PC players from Sega to console. I mean, I didn't have a PC back then, so I got my ass handed to me. But still.
Yeah, PC gamers were just wrecked. Console peasants. I think they did. I'm sure Microsoft set up all these different tournaments, and they just got destroyed.
Yeah, I think that was the day that a lot of people decided that they needed to be a PC gamer. That was Microsoft's plan all along. She's like, yeah, we'll get them on PC.
Yeah, they're just playing the long con. Well, I mean, the way things are going, they're bringing Sony. There's no console exclusives on the Xbox now. They're all on the Xbox One. They're all on PC and Xbox.
Yeah, you can get a Game Pass now, can't you? Just download the games
for the PC. I mean, it's just they're making it very, very difficult to actually want to get. the console itself. Maybe they won't. Maybe they won't bring out another console.
I'm gonna go off a bit topic now from games, but I think Microsoft's plan is working out pretty well from now, because at some point it was very much you didn't see Microsoft, as I didn't anyway, as a big player for development in a lot of things. And lately with their Azure stuff, and they're doing like Windows with Linux. It's like, oh yeah, they're trying to get a lot of developers on their side now, I think. So I think where they're going in marketing is really well. Oh, she's still there. Okay, there we go. Right, so where were we? Oh yeah, I think Microsoft's marketing plan at the moment and the way they're developing these products are going really well. And I think Microsoft Game Pass is probably to be one of them to try and bring gamers over to their side.
Game Pass is amazing.
Yeah, it's I mean, I haven't got an Xbox, but the fact that I can get Game Pass if I wanted to on the Microsoft Store is like pretty good, So it's not too bad for games. Speaking of exclusives, well, this isn't confirmed exclusive, but it's by Insomniac Games. So I didn't realize this. Spider-Man's only on the PS4.
Yeah. I was surprised with that, just because it's you expect all these sort of movie tie-in games. I know it's not based on a movie, but it's based on the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah,
you think it was be multi-platform because you think they want to get as much money as they can. So I mean that gives me a lot more incentive to buy it as well, especially because it's Insomniac. Like Insomniac have not really let me down yet. They've done some cracking games.
Yeah, it's really good. They've done really good games as well. But I was kind of disappointed because I really wanted it on PC. But you just saying that that remind me, if they did have a multi-platform, chances are it would be shit.
On PC, the port would be rubbish.
No, not just that. Like the fact that they've made an exclusive as well. I feel like, especially with Insomniac Games, because they've done really well, like with games in the past. I feel like if they had to do it for multiple platforms, they'd be worrying about porting it as well, and they probably wouldn't stand up to.
I think there's more pressure on developers if they make an exclusive, just because of the the aesthetic mentality that exists with the console wars, because they want because it comes down to PR and marketing.
Yeah,
because they've marketed the shit out of this game as well. So if Sony push this so hard and then it turns out to be a flop, then that doesn't look. It looks bad on Insomniac, but it looks bad on Sony as well for doing it. So I kind of see what I mean with that.
I think they're solid for. I think they'll be fine.
It looks good though. It looks like a really good game.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier, like, you wanted to talk about some of our favorite
game franchises, favorite games, favorite series.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, would you want to go first? Have you thought of any? Or
I've thought of one. Yeah. I mean, I have no idea what you're going to say for yours. I mean, it's a series that you like as well. When I sort of thought of this, it's kind of tricky when you think of game series, because there's lots of, like, you've got the main numbered series, you've got the spin-off series. Things change over time. Yeah. So a good example is like the Metal Gear Solid franchise, where it used to be one of my favorite game series of all time, and I think 1, 2, and 3 absolutely love. 1 and 3 especially. 1 is my favorite game of all time. Metal Gear Solid 1, and 3 is up there. It's very, very close. So superb games. But the series as a whole, I never really liked the PSP games. Although I liked the card one on the PSP, Acid. It was a bit weird, but I kind of liked it. I didn't really like 4.
I can't say I've played that many. I've played 1, 2, and then I was like, oh, I'll go back to it. I'll play 4, and I was like, what the fuck have I done? There's so much cutscenes.
Exactly, it's changed so much, and it's kind of weird because people love 4. But I just couldn't get on with it. It was just so much talking, and the combat itself is so much different. and I just didn't like it. It was just such a departure, and you could argue like the game has evolved over time, but I think that's what it comes down to. Is like, again, Final Fantasy, another good example where Final Fantasy games are some of my favorite games of all time, but they've made a lot of stinkers along the way as well. It's such a massive series, and you can't say they're all good or they're all on the same level.
So I gotta cut you off there. Like, so with Metal Gear Solid 4, okay, I remember playing it to the end. I was like, oh, okay, that's quite a lot of cutscenes. And it was like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I'll just watch this end cutscene. Just because I feel like I can't stop now because I want to know what happens. And I was literally laying in bed for an hour and a half. I was like, why would it end? It's like, I want to go to bed.
You just watched the feature-length movie after your game, like...
It's literally an hour and a half. It's like, goes on for 45 minutes. And then I think it like has a little like, oh yeah, you just walk from one character to another, talk to them. And then it starts for another 45. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I had to be Hideo Kojima just wanted to make people go fucking nuts, like man, just go mental.
I know. I mean, the thing is with Hideo Kojima, I think he wanted to stop making games in the series after 2.
He wanted to be like in the movies, didn't he? He wanted to make movies.
I think he wanted to be a director, especially with the new series with Death Stranding. It looks so sort of cinematic, and like I think he wrote a book or is an autobiography or biography, and like all the people he sort of mentions as inspiration to him, they're all directors. There's hardly anything from games.
Okay.
Which is surprising because I mean, there's so many things in the Metal Gear Solid series which have been quite sort of revolutionary and really interesting and really grab people's
the engine
attention.
itself is really good too. I mean, is it Fox engine?
The Fox engine is gorgeous. It really is incredible. That's the best thing to come out of Metal Gear Solid 5 Travesty, the Phantom Pain. Although I don't know what's happening with that because I don't know who owns the Fox engine. Do Konami own it? I don't know how it works. And are they going to use it for anything?
I think they do. That's why they were able to. I'm pretty sure that's why they were able to use it for that last game. I can't remember what the last game was, but it looked shit.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, well, I'm a huge fan of the Metal Gear franchise, and then they've got a zombie game where it's like Fortnite. You build a fucking steel wall.
Yeah. And
then all these faceless crystal zombies approach you, and you got to stab at this. Oh, just so bad. Anyway,
just crap.
It is disheartening. There's lots of games from that franchise I love, but as a whole, it's not. It's a bit average, to be honest. Sorry, excuse me.
Okay.
A series which I do love though, and it does have one black sheep. Well, one and a half black sheeps, is Mass Effect.
All right, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a really good series. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
The second game especially is one of my favorite games of all time. It is a fucking superb game.
You know what I'm going to say though.
Well, it's probably many things you can say about it. To be honest.
Keep going.
So, in a nutshell, the first game had a fantastic story. Gameplay was a little rocky. The second game had an insanely good story and very, very solid combat. I think the AI could have been a little bit better, but it's not that noticeable. It was just good fun. And then the third game is where it all started to fall apart. It had a bit of a rush development. Absolutely amazing story. Pretty good combat. They changed some things which I didn't really like. It felt a bit more, I don't know, it just felt a bit more unstructured. Just not actually playing it side by side. It's hard to sort of quantify. I just prefer the combat too.
I remember playing the first and second one. I really enjoyed them both. Really, a lot of fun.
I know what you're gonna say. I just realized what you're gonna say.
So you remember with the third one and how I found out what happened?
Oh no, I think it's something else again. I thought you were talking about the mining.
Oh no, I like the first one. Like for the fucking going on the planets and going around in the Mako. It was the Mako.
Everyone hated the Mako. I didn't mind it.
Yeah,
I know. The thing is, everyone slagged it off, but then everyone when they play Skyrim, they try to climb over fucking mountains and take like 4 hours because they think it's going to be a shortcut. And no one complains about that. Everyone's like, oh yeah, that's just a jolly good time because we want to suck Bethesda off. I mean, the controls were a bit all over the shop, but it's like, I'm on the moon.
Yeah.
Of course the controls are going to be all over the shop.
Yeah, on the moon.
Oh,
and
it's
also, you go into like these certain points on the map where there are actually like buildings and like different artifacts. I remember that. And then second one came out. Nobody had a problem with fucking scanning planets, just going around in circles. I was like,
it's boring.
Oh, why would you do this? Like this, boring.
It's so boring.
But for the third one, I don't know. I think you told me. Actually, you said to me, Mark, you're going to be very unhappy with what happens. And I was halfway through the game. And then you said that, and I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, oh, it's so gutting. And I was like, I have to see it now. I have to see what's going on. So halfway through the game, I was like, I have to find out what is going on, because everyone's starting to like lose their shit over how bad the ending was. I thought, I'm spoiling for myself, but I've got to see it, because I want to know if it's worth me continuing the story. I watched it, and I did not complete the game afterwards. I was like, what's the point? It's just the same ending with different colours.
It's so bad. So again, like TLDR, it's hard to summarize Mass Effect, the trilogy, but humans discover this advanced technology, and they discover that in the galaxy there's different races, and they all meet together in this place called the Citadel, which is like the galaxy's United Nations, I guess. So humanity tries to sort of prove their worth and advance themselves in this sort of galactic battlefield. You play as a commander from the human side, and you're uncovering secrets about this ancient race of sentient robots which are trying to wipe out all race in the Milky Way.
It's supposed to be you're the first human
Spectre.
That's it, yeah. So that's why it's a big thing. Go on.
So yeah, in the first game you become like a super cop. Basically, you're a Spectre. So you're like James Bond. You have you can do whatever you want. You are immune to sort of prosecution. You have you're given these missions and you can deal with them however you want, by any means necessary. So there's a bit of a morality system in the game where you can decide to do things so the Paragon Righteous Way or the Renegade Way. I think it was called something different in Mass Effect 1. I can't remember. But the main sort of three elements of gameplay were the combat, which gets better as the series goes on, but it was number one. It wasn't particularly good. It was very, very laggy. The AI was really pretty bad.
What I remember of number one was every single time you got a weapon, there's something like, oh, I could upgrade to this. So
constantly, yeah, constantly.
That's gone. Sorry.
Yeah, there was a lot of like weird micromanagement as well. But where one really stood out was the conversations and the story. And there were lots of different ways you could play out so your interactions with people. And you could either trick people, or you could either be honest. And there were some really big story decisions where you got to this stage and you're like, fuck, I don't know what to do. So there'd be three people in combat. There'd be yourself and you'd have two AI partners. There's one character who is like a fan favorite, and at one point he turns on you because you are making an attack against the main villain, and the main villain has concocted an antidote for a virus that his race is suffering with.
Oh, the genophage, is it?
The genophage, yeah, which is one of the most interesting parts of Mass Effect lore. And he's been nothing but a cool guy after that stage. But he turns on him and says, like, look, I'm not. You're asking me to turn against my people. You're a cool guy, but this ain't gonna happen. And if your sort of charisma is high enough, you can convince him to back down. And mine wasn't the first time I played the game, so the only option is to kill him. So I killed him, and I was like, fuck this, I'm starting a new file. I want Rex on my side. Justice for Rex. I was so annoyed.
I didn't even know that was an option. That
Yeah,
never
you can
happened
be
to
a
me.
you can be a dick about it as well. You can either kill him yourself or have one of your teammates kill him, which is really fucking sly. Uh, that I kind of have a problem with the game, which I think you play differently to me, and people play it like different ways. Is you can either be Paragon or Renegade, and if you do good things, you get Paragon points. If you do bad things, you get Renegade points. You're not really a villain, but you're just like Dirty Harry kind of character. And some people will just pick Paragon or Renegade because that's the class I'm gonna go. So you can either go full hero or full retard, basically. And Renegade is more fun. I gotta be honest. I always played Renegade's female shepherd.
Right.
But I always like to role play. So if I played a Paragon, there'd be a couple of things like, no, this guy's pissing me off. He's getting slapped. And that's how I played the first game. So I did have moments like that where it's like, oh, I can't convince you not to do things. There's another good example, which is not dependent on stats. It's just a choice you've got to make. Is the same race that we were talking about. So Rex is the character who turns on you later in the game. His race is the Krogan, and they were at war for hundreds of years with this insect race called the Rachni, and they make them extinct. Anyway, you land on this planet, and there's Rachni there, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? I think they found, I can't think how they got there now, but you find a Rachni queen, and she's the one who's been producing all these.
I remember this. Okay, yeah.
She's the one who's been producing all these Rachni, and she's very, very powerful, and she's sort of one of the people sort of orchestrating this experiment you kill. She brings them back to life and starts speaking through them, and she explains that she hasn't got any control over her children. They've basically been unleashed and they don't know any better. That's why they're attacking. So, and she says, please, can you let me go? I'll take my children away. We won't cause you any problems at all. I know we were at war in the past, but we didn't understand about these other races then.
Yeah.
We were young as a species, and they're speaking on a similar intellect level to you. And you've got to make the decision. It's like, do you set this potentially, genocidal creature free, or do you trust their word, or do you kill him? So, essentially, if you kill this queen, then you are causing mass genocide for that race. But if you don't kill her, then they could go off and kill millions more people. And it was the series is full of like really hard decisions where I have to just pause the game and just think like, fuck.
Weigh up the pros and cons.
Jesus, like what would Jesus do? This situation.
Did you do? I know what I did at that time.
I set her free.
Oh, I did the same. And I'm pretty sure at some point then, doesn't she help you out?
I can't remember. I think she comes back in Mass Effect 3 and she's corrupted by the Reapers, and you could save her again, and then she's like on your side.
Right. Okay.
But it's a bit sort of watered down.
But yeah, there were good options like that. That's what made the first and second one so good, is that your outcomes transfer over as well to the next game, and I actually felt like it made a difference.
Oh yeah.
So then when you got to 3, and it's like, oh yeah, your outcomes made a difference from there to 3, but then the ending was just like this weird.
The final ending means nothing.
Yeah, it was just. I know it's a good lead up to it, but the ending just didn't hold out. I mean, I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest. It was a long running game, really good game as well for story wise, and I don't know what I was expecting them to do. I think I might be my issue as well.
It's essentially what they do without spoiling too much is the entire 3 games build up this alien threat, and the 3rd game is just about getting as many people on board to fight and retake Earth, because they've taken over Earth at this stage. So it's a massive war with all different races to finish them off. But the last sort of, like literally the last half an hour is that to the wire. They introduce this new character, which is sort of the man behind the curtain, sort of thing, and you've got to make like one of three decisions, which all ultimately are the same. There's not much difference between them all, and the ending cutscenes are very similar as well. There's hardly any difference at all. So like Mark was saying, where you have so much choice, and like real changes from game to game, where if you made a decision in the first game, that would come up in the third game, and you would say like, oh well, you do this, and this is the effect you've had, and you felt like you were having a big effect on the world, and all that is like nullified. I love 3. I loved all of them, but the last part of 3 is just it broke my heart when I played it, and I was just gutted.
You know what's funny though, when you said like, yeah, they carried on through game to game, but I remember sometimes I get like onto Mass Effect 2, and it would be a point with like, oh yeah, how's it going? And I'm like, who the fuck is this?
Who the fuck is this guy? Like,
how do you know me? I'm like, oh,
I'm not
yeah.
being racist. I'm not being racist, but all you aliens look the same. I just can't tell. I just can't tell you apart at all.
But they go over like some story, like some small story, which I like, a small side quest that I did in the previous game. Like, did I do that? I can't remember. But yeah, I mean,
What?
Gotta be honest, it's good franchise, really good.
Oh, it was a good franchise. What I like about Mass Effect as well is, like, BioWare at the time were one of my favorite developers, and they survived this, for the most part, survived the sting of EA, because you go back and play number 2, and there's lots of sort of DLC which could have been included in the game.
Right.
And there was like a lot of like day one passes and that sort of business. I think one of the, like, if you pre-ordered the game, you'd unlock this new character and that sort of thing. But it didn't really tarnish the game at all, because even the core game itself is so good. You don't need anything else. The rest is just flavor. It would have been nice if more was included in the game, but I think you felt like you were getting bang for your buck. Then they fucked that all up in 3. So there was a day one DLC with 3.
Oh, the multiplayer as well. Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
That was in 3.
I mean, it's solid. Yeah, I was in 3. I mean, it feels fine to play, but that brings up the debate. If you're playing, because we had this conversation with Doom as well, is would you rather have like a lukewarm, okay multiplayer, or would you rather have an extra 5 hours of premium single player content in your single player game? No, it's no contest for me at all.
I'd rather single player.
Exactly. And there are people who like, yeah, there's people who like The Last of Us multiplayer as well. And The Last of Us multiplayer is okay, but it's not why I bought the game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's good, but it should be an afterthought. It shouldn't be like, oh, the multiplayer is the main thought. The single player should be concentrated on. If they can implement it, okay. If they got enough time to do it, like, yeah, have at it, but don't try and make it a thing. Just don't. Like, I'd rather a lot more Mass Effect single player than I would a multiplayer.
No, same. And the thing is, like, I don't like. Obviously, I don't like EA. They are modern day Nazis. It's such a scumbag company. They're not actually modern day Nazis, but they're not very nice. They're not a nice company. But you look at the difference between Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2, and the production value is really shot up. I think Mass Effect 1 weren't owned by EA then. And the production value shot up so much, and it looked like such a just everything about the game was so crisp, and the cutscenes were good, the character animations were good. Yeah. Well, at least like relative to the first game, they were much better. They look a little dated now, but at the time they were incredible. And the soundtrack, the soundtrack is so good. It's like being inside a computer. The soundtrack for me must have been what people thought Tron was like when Tron came out, because I thought it sounded so it fit the world so much. It felt so sort of so foreign and so interesting and so technologically advanced. It just felt you could listen to that out of context and think that is from a sci-fi game,
No,
and it's just a brilliant game. It made some pitfalls, which I think EA are probably the source of, or will be at deadlines. But I think every game is vulnerable to deadlines.
Oh yeah, they
And
definitely have deadlines. It's more to do with the like where they think the revenue is going to come from, and
mm,
then like they start having like projection plans or like I'm talking from like the development standpoint of like scrums, and they say what tasks need to be complete. And I mean, they probably do consider some tasks a priority when they shouldn't be.
mm.
So yeah, like I mean, microtransactions, that's gonna be a number one task, priority task for them. So
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, and I think that was before people really caught on, because I don't think I think I bought some of the DLC from Aspect 2, but I didn't buy all of it. I think I bought one or two, and I kind of thought at the time, like, this is fine, but I've paid like 10 quid for this, and I've got like a couple of hours out of it. It's like, I'm fine. I just won't bother in the future.
also
The
the
big
like DLC where like they had an assassin or something, and is that what you're on about?
there was a few from Aspect 2. There was a few. There was the Zaid one, who's a new character. There was the Kasumi one, who's a thief,
Right.
and there's like this. I think all there was for Kasumi was her loyalty mission, and then she would be on your team.
Okay.
The Lair of the Shadow Broker, which was like massive lore implications, and it had one of your main characters from the first game involved as well.
I think that might have been the one I refused. Well, I don't remember him that much, but I'm pretty sure I remember that Shadow Broker one. I just like
That was good
outright
DLC. I
refused to
do
get it. I was like, no,
was because the expense. So
no. I think it's because it was like, I think it was marketed as like a main story for
mm,
for the game, and I'm pretty sure like the usual. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure at the time it was like, well, the game is coming out, and they've already got this DLC for it. Why can't they just have it
lined
with the
up,
game?
yeah. But it's like you say when they've got their marketing projections. It's like, right, this is when the game's announced. 2 months down the line, we'll have DLC 1. 2 months down the line, we'll have DLC 2, and it's just it's all making money.
Yeah, I mean their business. I can understand they need to make money, but at least make your product good.
And the,
It's
and the
like,
other yeah, and the other extreme is what they did for Mass Effect 3 when they had the day one DLC, and it's a small spoilers for the game, but it was some extra missions and a new character.
yeah,
And the new character, I think, what's his name? Zavid? I can't think of his name. But he's a Prothean, and Protheans are they've referenced so much in the series. They're basically an extinct race going back 50,000 years. And the amount he can tell you about the Reapers, the amount he can tell you about his race, the amount of interesting dialogue he has with your your character and your companions, it adds so much to the game. Yet they cut it out, cut bits off the main game and sold it for extra DLC. It's bullshit.
yeah. That's
It's really irritating.
is annoying. But yeah, I
And
mean, good series. Sorry, go on.
I mean, this was how long ago was this? It was like 7 years ago. So people weren't quite as wise to DLC as they are now. It does taint the experience a little bit, but when I go back and think how much I enjoyed all the main stories, and 3 has its problems, but 3 has got some of the highest highs and lowest lows of the series. Some of the character deaths and character spoilers and character moments in 3 are some of the best in gaming. Like seriously enjoyed it. I think that's why it was such a kick in the teeth when I finished 3 and it had such a disappointing ending.
It's pretty good. And then
But
it took him like,
overall, solid series.
did it take him 2 months as well to come up with something else? And it was just like pictures.
It was just some extra cutscenes and pictures. It's like,
Yeah.
there's like the first third of third game is getting the Krogan on your side. So we've sort of spoke about earlier. The Krogan were a warrior race, or a warrior race. They started taking over the galaxy, breeding like mad. So the UN or the Citadel came up with a way to make them infertile. So I think it was only 1 in every 100 Krogan babies would be born. So they stopped. They couldn't go to war anymore because obviously they couldn't reproduce. But now, because of the Reaper threat, they needed them to. They needed the Krogan on side, and one of the conditions was, we want you to cure the genophage. which you can choose to do. And I chose to do it because I was Team Krogan all the way. And then when we get to Earth for the final fight, I remember it's like your boy Rex, who's like like a really cool character, and one of like the the OG characters. He's like giving a speech to like 20 fucking Krogan in the middle of like London street, and like this is it. Like this is all you brought. I was expecting like a massive fucking army to come crashing down and smacking the shit out of the Reapers, but no.
How fast do you think they breed? Grow.
Well, they have 4 testicles, so quite fast, I imagine. Yeah. What about you, anyway, Mark? What's one of your favorite series?
I don't know, man. I mean, I'd have to I remember having a lot of fond memories of Halo, but yeah, it was like I'd say Aspie. I don't know. I'm confused.
I think Halo brought a lot of us together in many ways because that was one of the first games that was you could casually play in the multiplayer sort of environment,
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed. Yeah, now I think about it, I
first
think it's probably
person shooter wise anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to say though, it's probably gonna be an unpopular opinion, but for me, it's probably Assassin's Creed.
I was waiting as you say Warframe.
Yeah, I've been playing it for like 3 weeks. Best game ever. My favorite franchise is Warframe.
I think with Mass Effect, with Assassin's Creed though, it's kind of similar to what we were saying before. It's had some amazing games. It's had some duds as well.
Oh yeah, like there's been a lot of duds. Like I think the first one was like my first. Yeah, it weren't that good. The first one because just the fucking flags alone. It's like, why am I collecting all these flags? But I know I was intrigued by the story, and then the second one came out, and Ezio is probably the one that made it so good. Like because of the story and very charismatic character. And
he was a cool character, and I think like Italy is everyone like from we don't know much about Italy. We're not taught much about it in school, if that makes sense. We just know sort of the anecdotal sort of stories about it, and it was interesting to see that period in time brought to life through video game.
Oh yeah, it's like just the fact you can climb these things as well. Obviously, they're not to scale, but it's just interesting to see the city and the way they imagined how it would be from. I'm guessing like historical sort of documents or paintings or pictures, wherever. But I enjoyed the series. I mean, one of my favorites though is it's funny because it's not even you don't even play as an assassin. You play as a Templar. Assassin's Creed Rogue.
Oh right, yeah.
You ever seen it or heard of it?
I've heard of it, but I don't think I've ever played it.
Okay, so when Unity came out.
Mm-hmm.
So there was Assassin's Creed Unity and Assassin's Creed Rogue came out the same time. Because Rogue was on a previous generation and Unity was on the newer generation. So
right, okay. So he sort of got swept under the rug a bit to push the PS4.
Yeah, so like in Assassin's Creed 2, I liked Ezio and his storyline, and it was really good. But then the rest of them were kind of stale. Like, I mean, Connor from 3 just didn't make any sense. Like, gets really pissed off that he finds out, I think, if I remember correctly, George Washington was a traitor, and he just pushes him away. As if like, oh, you're stupid, and that's it. And I'm like, you just fucking let him get away. What? What? And but yeah, the Assassin's Creed Rogue puts you in the shoes of an assassin. Like he's an assassin at the start, and he goes to a city. I can't remember the city now, and I feel like I should know this. But he finds an artifact under the underground. Takes the artifact and he causes an earthquake, like so big. And I think this is an actual city as well, where it experienced like a massive earthquake to the point that it killed.
So it's loosely based on sort of real life.
I think it might be. I'm not 100% sure of that, but yeah. So basically, this artifact caused an earthquake and it started destroying the whole city. Like people were dying, and he gets out and he tells the assassins, "Look, we can't go after these artifacts. They're causing destruction." And that's when they basically say he's an idiot. He can't, they're gonna go for him anyway, and they don't believe him. So he joins the Templars because they say that they will help protect those sites. So in a way, it's a good reason for him to protect those sites. So he joins the Templars, and it kind of gives him a valid reason as to why he's joined them. And whereas instead, like most Assassin's Creed games, like especially not the latest one, what's the one
initial
before?
ones.
The one in London is just a guy that wants to take over the world, and he's got a fucking mustache. It's like, that's what it comes down to. He's just evil dick. Whereas
I think those are the two strongest elements of the series. First of all, like the gameplay, the being an assassin, being able to clamber all these walls easily and sneak up and suddenly take people out.
Yeah.
It'd been done before by games like Tenchu, but it hadn't been quite refined as much as it was. I think people love that, and especially because you say about cities not being to scale. Me and my partner went to Florence last year, where a lot of Assassin's Creed 2 is based, and the first thing she did when she got back was load up Assassin's Creed 2.
Oh, really?
And wander around the city, and she found it amazing because it is very, very similar. It's not to scale, as you said. It is smaller. There's the cathedral in the game, the Duomo, it's a massive cathedral, and in the game it's like looks about 200 foot tall, and when you see it, it's fucking huge in real life. It's just gigantic. But I think that was, for a lot of people, what was so interesting about the series as a whole is you see this like long battle between the assassins and the Templars, and it takes so many different forms from Jerusalem in the first game to North America in the third game. I can't think where Black Flag was, but
West
obviously
Indies.
the other game, West Indies was it,
I think.
But how each sort of story changes, and I think what you say with Rogue, where you finally see it from a Templar's perspective, and they might not be this big bad that you imagine them to be, and the assassins are not so perfect themselves.
Yeah, I mean that's what I enjoyed about the Rogue, is that it wasn't some evil dick, and the fact you play as a guy that's trying to do the right thing, even though he from the start he was an assassin, and he believes that they're trying to take over the world. It's like, well, I have to join forces with these people because I can't let anyone get to these artifacts. And that was his whole motivation. He just doesn't want them to destroy these cities, but they won't listen. So he's like, "Well, I've got to join forces."
What did you think of? Oh, sorry, go on.
No, go on. What was you going to say?
What did you think of the latest one? Is it Odyssey, the one in Egypt? Origins. Odyssey's the new one.
Origins is not bad. Like they've redone like the whole combat system, and they've made it like sort of more RPG elements with the weapons. So. Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. I mean, again, with the enemies in that, most of them, like, they are sort of like a cult, I want to say. But there are some enemies in there that are trying to do the right thing. Like, there's a guy he's killing all these people because he believes that, if I'm getting this correct now, he's killing a lot of people because he believes that he's being punished. And the way he's being punished is the city is being covered by sand, and there's just nothing you can do about it. So he thinks because
Major in Egypt.
Yeah, but I think he believes because he's not killing these people, like these certain, I don't know, this sort of, I think maybe religious sort of people, that he's getting punished for it. So he's trying to do a right thing in his sense because he wants to make sure the city survives. And then there's a female character, her child dies, so I think she sacrifices a lot of people and tries to give them to the gods to bring her daughter back.
Right.
And I mean, there is like evil dicks in there, but they're not all like, I want all the power.
They've got motivation behind their actions. So.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't mind the last one. It was quite a lot to do. Story was okay, but yeah, Rogue is probably my favorite one.
I think the problem with a lot of long-running series, ironically, is the fans, because you're going to piss someone off, and especially with Assassin's Creed, where like the first game was a bit sloppy, and they updated a lot. The flags were a good example, but they improved the combat a lot for the second game. The story was a lot better as well, and like it was Assassin's Creed 2, and I think there was 2 spin-off games with it as well, Brotherhood, and I can't think of the third one. And people loved like Ezio's story because he was such an interesting character. Oh, I keep doing this, Mark. I just totally forgot my train of thought. It's awful. Yeah, that's what I mean. When you jump from game to game, and you run the risk of, you don't want to keep it exactly the same, but you don't want to change things too much and upset your fans.
Yeah.
And Assassin's Creed has definitely done that way. I think they refined the first game, and then they've slightly refined the second game and spin-offs and changed them a little bit. Number 3, they changed a little bit. Number 4, they changed massively with the ships.
Yeah, sailing, yeah.
And now it's come back around full circle with Origins, where they've almost given like a soft reboot of the game, where it's very different to the other series. But then, like, people are stupid, and you could. I know the argument has been made that it's so much different from the other games. It's not Assassin's Creed anymore. But it's like, well, do you want to play the same game again, or do you want to play an updated version of the game where they've taken things that worked and they've tried some new things too? No, it's all about risk and reward. It's tricky.
Yeah, I mean, as you just pointed out, I mean it's that whole situation of if it works, don't fix it, sort of thing. Is that
it? Yeah. If it ain't broke, then fix it.
Yeah, and then there's the other point of, well, if you don't change anything at all, then it's just the same game, but with a different template over it. So, I mean, it's always going to be like that. But yeah, you do run the risk of pissing some people off. Like, I didn't like the Syndicate. That's right. I struggled to think what it's called. But I thought that was like incredibly boring. Just the performance of it was shit. It's nah. But
was that the one with the glitches, or was Union the one with the glitches?
That was Unity. That was with the funny eyeball glitches.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, but I didn't even play that one. When first played. But yeah, I gotta say that's probably one of my favorites. So, but I think we've been going for a while now, Watch. So.
Yeah, I think so, buddy too.
So
time for Betty buys. Like to join in.
What the hell?
10.
Been doing well. All right, guys.
Roll men now.
Well, thank you for joining us, guys. And if you have anything to say, leave in the comments below. We'll get back to you. Yeah, we got a list of things we want to talk about. If there's anything you want us to talk about, just let us know. Cheers. Bye.